to St. Rita's Church. He's a repeat offender, a man with a history of causing trouble for the Queen's Parish, returning to smash through a stained glass window. I'm Christine Persichetti. The pastor of St. Rita's believes that suspect actually set out to do much more damage. Before breaking the window, he made his way into the chapel, but was met with around 20 people from a charismatic prayer group. Now police are looking for him. Current News' Jessica Easthope has more on this unholy act in Long Island City.
Caught on camera, but not yet caught by police. St. Rita's pastor, Father Jose da Silva, said Friday night he heard a noise and came to his window to find this.
Then I asked him, "What are you doing?" And he looked at me and he left. I came down, I went to the chapel. Everybody was outside from the Brazilian group, and we saw the windows broken.
Father da Silva says he knows the man who did it, not by name, but sees him regularly in the neighborhood. The Queen's priest claims over the years the man has caused disturbances inside the Long Island City church, coming in drunk and with alcohol. Father da Silva has been forced to ask him to leave. When he was in the chapel, he was drunk. Sometimes he was drinking beer in the chapel also. He opened the door with his foot, like this, the front door. And he was screaming at me. The windows that were shattered are part of the church's original stained glass and nearly 60 years old. Father da Silva believes they weren't his intended target. Before causing damage outside, the man entered the chapel where a charismatic prayer group was meeting. I think his intention also was to attack people or damage the chapel. Father da Silva says he fears for his own safety and the safety of his nearly 1,000 parishioners. This area is not safe. It's not safe for anybody. Detectives from the 114th Precinct are investigating the incident. Father da Silva has not yet heard back from the insurance company, but estimates the cost of damage is more than $10,000. In Long Island City, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
If you recognize the man from that footage, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. Bishops are praying for the victims of the shooting at the Kansas City Super Bowl rally. One person was killed, more than 20 others wounded. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves says the shooting appears to be the result of a personal dispute between several people. Police have taken 3 people into custody. 2 local bishops responded to the tragedy, calling for prayers and unity. Bishop James Johnston of Kansas City, St. Joseph, Missouri, sharing a message on Facebook saying, "On this first day of Lent, we turn to God for mercy and healing for our broken world." Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City, Kansas, also encouraging people to turn to their faith, saying, "Let us now remain united in prayer for healing, both physically and mentally, for the victims, their families, and all who are understandably shaken by the heartbreaking event near Union Station." The person killed was a Catholic mom of 2. Lisa Lopez Galvin was a beloved DJ for a Kansas City radio station and an active parishioner at Sacred Heart Guadalupe Parish. Her fellow parishioners say she was devoted to the church and her loss was devastating to the community. Lisa died in the hospital during surgery after a gunshot wound to her abdomen. Be sure to stay with Currents News and the tablet for continuing coverage of the shooting. There's been a win in the fight against human trafficking. A bishop-backed bill has passed the House in a landslide vote. The Frederick Douglass Trafficking Victims Prevention and Protection Reauthorization Act strengthens and expands anti-trafficking programs. The bill still has to go before the Senate. American bishops have been pushing to pass the measure for years. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg, tells us more about the efforts to fight human trafficking. Hi, John.
Hi, Christine.
So, John, what exactly does this bill accomplish?
So this new bill, it really renews and builds on the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. And that bill really allowed the U.S. to grow its help to survivors and advocacy for human trafficking and how to address the problem. So what this new bill does is it strengthens those existing programs and it helps survivors with things like education, legal help, assimilation into society in a number of different ways.
All right, and the bishops have been supporting this bill, saying in a statement released February 1st, quote, "It is incumbent upon all of us to unite in promoting efforts that prevent the evil of human trafficking." But their support has gone back further than that, right?
That's right. So the Trafficking Victims Protection Act 2000 actually expired in 2021. So for the past 3 years, the U.S. bishops have really been calling on Congress to pass this bill that was passed today. So they've been on the forefront of this. It's gone through various iterations over that 3 years, but it now has finally crossed the finish line, at least with respect to the House.
And what has the church itself done to help trafficking victims?
So the first thing is advocacy. Like with this bill, they're always speaking out, trying to raise awareness and get Congress to act. But beyond that, they're also on the forefront of helping survivors. Those same things that this bill does, helping them with education, legal help, assimilation into society, Catholic groups are really at the forefront of leading those efforts and helping them get on their feet and get jobs and things of that nature.
All right, John Lavenberg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Christine.
To read more of John's reporting on the church's human trafficking efforts, go to thetablet.org. Now an update on the ceasefire efforts between Israel and Hamas. Mediators in Cairo are discussing a deal to release the remaining hostages. But according to Israeli media, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told his negotiators not to take part. Netanyahu's office has not confirmed or denied the reports, but they did release a statement saying a change in Hamas's position will allow progress in the negotiations. A past possible deal would have traded Israeli hostages for Palestinian prisoners. Netanyahu rejected that proposal. Catholic leaders are calling for both sides to reach a deal. Several bishops and women's religious communities released a joint statement saying, in part, peace is needed now. Accountability rather than retribution is needed now. Language that speaks of peace and reconciliation without words of violence and vengeance is needed now. The Knights of Columbus are praying for peace between Russia and Ukraine, starting a 9-day novena. The national chaplains of the Knights in Ukraine, alongside 2 Ukrainian bishops, are inviting people around the world to join in the prayers that began on Thursday. It will end on the anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 22nd, 2022. Each day of the novena will focus on specific groups affected by the war. This is not the Knights' first effort to help Ukraine. Some 10,000 Knights in Poland and Ukraine have distributed food and supplies through their Knights of Columbus charity convoys. They gave out 250,000 care packages, 60,000 rosaries, and 4,000 coats for Ukrainian children. To date, more than 7.7 million pounds of food and supplies have been donated. You can help those suffering in both Gaza and Ukraine. Just go to caritas.org and click donate on the upper right-hand corner. A major milestone as Notre Dame Cathedral prepares to reopen. They have begun unveiling the newly built spire. In April of 2019, the Paris Cathedral suffered from a devastating fire that caused that spire to crash through the centuries-old timber roof. Despite much debate, French President Emmanuel Macron announced the spire would be rebuilt as an exact replica. Now that scaffolding surrounding the spire has been removed, revealing a new cross and golden rooster, which symbolizes France. Notre Dame is set to reopen on December 8th, and we're finding out the plans for that ceremony. Representatives of the French state who own the cathedral will hand Notre Dame over to the Archbishop of Paris. The event will also include a consecrating of the new altar and an awakening of the organ. For the week following, there will be a solemn celebration every day with a particular theme. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.